From the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News at 6.
Both houses of Congress will come together tonight to hear the president deliver his annual State of the Union address.
This will be the first time the president will face Congress after Republicans gain control of the Senate. We'll have more on what the president is expected to talk about coming up. Good evening, it's January 20th, and I'm Chloe Stradinger.
And I'm Jessica Barretto. Thanks for joining us. A UF student who was hit by a car earlier this month was taken off life support this weekend and will be remembered at a service on Friday. Jerry DeClasse was hit by a car on January 9th while he was walking on Waldo Road, right by the Super Walmart.
According to the crash report, the UF Innovation Academy student was taken to Shands with critical injuries to the head and put on life support. One of his former roommates said that DeClasse's parents were begging doctors for more time, but they said there was nothing more they could do.
People were upset at first. You know, they were praying and they were singing some hymns for him, and then everyone just sort of got together and just started telling happy stories about him and kind of talking about him in the way that, you know, he would have liked.
The university says that DeClasse was a good student and well-liked within the Innovation Academy. Gainesville police say they do not expect to press charges against the 17-year-old who hit DeClasse, but they have not yet finished their investigation. And with a stretch of Northwest 16th Avenue under construction, the corridor from 31st Drive to 22nd Street is currently restricted to one lane on each side. As a result, traffic flow along the road is becoming an issue. Alachua County is in the midst of a rebuilding project on the 4-mile stretch of 16th that started back in November 2013. The latest work is the reconstruction of a retaining wall on the north side of the street. This is resulting in traffic delays, but area residents are doing their best to minimize the disruption.
I've actually observed, and I've started doing it too, people actually will stop and let somebody cut across into their neighborhood, which is really a kind thing to do, and pay it forward, helps the traffic move.
The project is scheduled to finish in May, but delays are possible if weather interferes with the planned work. Well, we've had some cold nights, but thankfully tonight will be much improved. Some areas may also see some patchy fog.
UF forecaster Tony Sadiku joins us live from the Weather Center. Tony, where can we expect to see this fog?
Good evening, ladies. I think we'll have the best chance for seeing the patchy fog and mainly the inland locations as some of the low-level moisture begins to really build into the play. But really today, another beautiful day. So we had the clouds early, but then that all cleared up after about 2, 3 o'clock and then left some beautiful clouds and the temperatures to climb all the way into the lower 70s. Heading into tonight, much improved. We've certainly had the cold nights in the past, the 30s, but I think tonight it's going to be much improved. Those lows only bottoming out in the upper 40s. We'll call it about 48 degrees, still with the patchy fog, especially the inland areas. Folks, we've got 2 more days of this beautiful weather to really last, but I'm tracking big changes this weekend. Detail all that in my main weather forecast. Back to you.
Thanks, Tony. 2 Gainesville shop owners found a way to bring beads and bring bead crafts to Gainesville.
They not only started the first bead shop in town, they kept it in operation for 23 years. But now that's about to change. WFT's April Lanuza joins us with the story.
So in a little over 2 decades, the bead shop Gifts of Avalon has turned into a place bead craftsmen and women can go to learn new patterns and methods. But an increase in online shopping is leading this local business to close its doors. For the owners, bead crafting started as a hobby, and now it means so much more. 23 years of diverse customers in any size, shape, color, or shade of bead you might want, all started because of a fluke. 2 friends who would bead for fun decided to open the bead store Gifts of Avalon, one of the first of its kind in Gainesville and the region.
And people would travel from Jacksonville and Tallahassee because we were the only bead store at the time. There was no internet at all. And so they had to come and find us. So we really realized how we did stumble on something, and it did gain in popularity.
Now, 23 years later, this store in Millhopper Square will be closing its doors. There's still a strong interest in beads and bead making, but now it's time to adapt to modern technology. That's why the store, Gifts of Avalon, will be moving online.
The internet has taken over a lot of this kind of sales. So now, so I'm competing a lot with that, and I did 2 years ago start an Etsy store, which has taken off quite well, selling supplies.
But to keep the store open for so long, the owners needed to do more than just sell beads. They had to appeal to all kinds of people.
Every level, really, of interest, from people who just simply want a social life, to come in to hang out with other people that have like-minded interests and take classes.
Shifting to an online store can make owning a business easier, but for customers, some trade-offs will have to be made.
Main thing, I think our customers are going to be, sorely miss the personal hands-on care that we've offered. You don't get that on the internet.
The online store on Etsy is available, but will officially be the only place to buy gifts of Avalon beads starting mid-February. Until then, they're trying to sell as much as possible. April Lanuza, WUFT News.
Thanks, April. Businesses on Northwest 13th Street are now seeing an uptick of customers. The once empty Verde Plaza is now welcoming surrounding businesses, including one of Gainesville's newest and apparently popular addition, Lucky's Market. Shoppers say they are happy to see big stores like this setting up shop after many in this area closed. And experts say if these trends continue, it could become a new hotspot for Gainesville residents.
We always had the demographics, but a lot of times the retailers want to congregate in together, and they were doing that west of town, and we couldn't compete because we didn't have the land or the draw in order to bring them to our part of town. Now these specialty retailers are finding that this is a great opportunity for them. We want it to be an area that the people from University Avenue North can frequent and get the goods and services that they need to sustain themselves.
And other vacant spaces are being filled even further north on 13th as well. The area will also be welcoming Rooms to Go and Ross.
A Hernando County family is mourning today after two of the family's dogs mauled their 18-month-old child to death. Declan Moss was playing with the family's dogs when his grandfather heard sounds of the child in trouble. By the time he got there, he couldn't get the dogs off the toddler and off of each other. He called 911, but it was too late.
Obviously, even those of us who work with death and dying and serious injury every day, the firefighters on scene, I talked to them a little bit earlier, and they were heartbroken, and the deputies as well.
A neighbor says the dogs have never hurt people before, but they have killed other smaller animals in the past. But the sheriff's office said that they have never been called out to the home for a dangerous animal. And a proposed tax cut on TV and phone bills could help save your family some extra money. Governor Rick Scott announced a tax cut today that would cut almost $500 million in state cell phone and TV taxes. The average family could save about $40 every year. Floridians currently pay just over 9% on landline, cell phones, and cable. Scott's proposal would cut this by 3.6%. This tax cut is part of Scott's promise to cut over $1 billion in taxes over the next 2 years.
A search for missing car with a 6-year-old inside ended after only an hour late last night. Clearwater police sent an alert to be on the lookout for the car after the car was stolen at around 10:50 p.m. According to police, the boy's mother left him asleep in her car to run inside a nearby apartment. When she came back out, both the car and her son were gone. Police found the car abandoned about 2 miles away, with the child still asleep inside. Police are investigating. And a group of motorcycle and ATV drivers sped through the streets of Miami yesterday, with some performing tricks and affecting traffic. Nearly 100 participants came together from across the country on Monday for the Bike Life Miami event. They said they were celebrating Martin Luther King Day. For more than an hour, traffic was interrupted on highways and in neighborhoods. Observers recorded videos of the drivers performing stunts and posted them on social media. Police say there were no accidents reported as a result of this event. And less than an hour ago, the Florida legislature moved ahead on a bill that would allow concealed carry of firearms on college campuses. The House's Criminal Justice Subcommittee voted favorably on the bill, allowing it to move on through the House. Currently, students or employees of state universities cannot bring firearms onto campus. Those with concealed weapons permits are allowed to bring stun guns or other non-lethal weapons onto campus. An identical bill has been introduced in the Senate, although no vote has been taken on it yet.
WFT News at 6 is just getting started. Coming up, we'll have more on what we can expect to hear from President Barack Obama at tonight's State of the Union address.
Plus, conflict brews in Yemen as Shiite rebels storm the country's capital. Those stories and more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.